What's up, sports fans? This is the Lucas Ross Sports Channel. We continue here with my 2024 predictions for the upcoming 2024 college football season. The Texas Longhorns are up next. Of course, a team coming off a very successful season last year, going 12-2 overall in 2023, obviously making it to the college football playoff, and of course winning the Big 12 championship as well. This was a very talented Texas team from a year ago. My thoughts on them heading into 2024, I think they're going to be once again pretty good this year. Obviously, Quinn Ewers back at quarterback for this team. The offensive side of the football should really be really good this season, of course, with Steve Sarkisian's offensive background. So yeah, this offense will be pretty good. They do return a good amount of production on that side of the football this year. Defensively, lost some key guys there on the defensive side of the football, but I really have no concerns whatsoever here for Texas on both sides of the football. Again, this is going to be a very talented roster and a very talented team overall. So let's get to the schedule here for 2024. Again, this is the schedule here for Texas. Again, they were 12-2 last year, of course, heading to the SEC. I also forgot to mention that heading into 2024. So it's a new conference here for Texas. They finished up their last year in the Big 12. So let's go game by game now and give you a record prediction here for the Texas Longhorns for 2024. First game of the season is against Colorado State on August 31st. Texas definitely should be able to take care of business in this one. I know Colorado State probably could be a sneaky good group of five team there out of the non-conference, but I think Texas will definitely take care of business in this one. They definitely probably should score maybe 30 or 40 points. So I think Texas starts out with a win here in the season opener. I think they start out 1-0 pretty easily. And then there's that big game on the road at Michigan on September the 7th in week number 2. I've already done my Michigan video from yesterday, and I did pick Texas to win this game. Again, you just look at the differences of both of these rosters. Texas with a lot more experience on both sides of the football. Michigan, new head coach. I mean, obviously the offense is what I have concerns about for the Wolverines. I think it will be a low-scoring type game, though. I think Michigan's defense is good enough to really stop for Texas for, scoring like maybe 30 points in this one. Like I said, I think this game goes into the fourth quarter. It's a game that probably will be a defensive battle. It's a low-scoring type game. However, I do trust Texas's roster a little bit more, and like I said, I'm not really going with the home field advantage if it was like a really tough game to call. But again, with all the roster turnover for Michigan, that's the reason why I'm going with Texas here in this one. So again, I got Texas beating Michigan here on the road. That puts them at 2-0, and then they take care of business against UTSA and ULM Monroe. So I got them, getting to 4-0. So they start off the season with 4, not easy wins, but Michigan, they beat them and they improved to 4-0. And then the next game will be against Mississippi State here on September 28th. This will be a home game here for the Longhorns. First official SEC conference game here for Texas. This is a Mississippi State team that I don't really know what to expect this year. Obviously, a lot of roster turnover down here for this program. And a new head coach, obviously. They lost a lot of players from the transfer portal, so I think Texas will take care of business in this one. I don't really know if I expect a blowout in this one just because it's the first SEC game here for Texas, but they do win pretty fairly easy in this one, so I think Texas improves to 5-0 and beating Mississippi State. So they close out the month of September with a win over Mississippi State, and then they get to the month of October. They actually get a bye week here after that Mississippi State game, and it comes at a really good time here against your rival in Oklahoma. They played them on October the 12th, of course, in Dallas, the Red River rivalry, of course. One of my top 5 favorite rivalries of all time in college football, but this time these two teams will be meeting each other as SEC rivals. Of course, this will be the first ever Red River rivalry in the SEC. You look at this Oklahoma team, they're going to be pretty young on the offensive side of the football, but defensively, that's where they're going to be really good at. That's their biggest strength on the defensive side of the football. You look at the offense, though, Texas, I think, has a much more better offense than Oklahoma. They have more production coming back than Oklahoma, obviously. This game was very close last year. I do expect it to be, again, a really close game. I mean, it's obviously the Red River rivalry. Anything can happen in this matchup. Last year, Texas did come up just short. They lost by 3, but this time I think Texas will definitely be ready for revenge in this game, and I think with Texas's talent and all the experience that they have coming back on the roster, I think Texas does defeat Oklahoma here. Again, it's a close game, a one-score possession type game. It comes down to the fourth quarter. It really comes down to maybe like a defensive stop or maybe like a game-winning field goal. So I'm going to go with the Longhorns here. I think Texas does get revenge here on the Sooners, and that puts their record at 6-0. Next game, it's the big one here against Georgia on October 19th. Georgia obviously going to be probably one of the most talented teams in the country coming up this year like they always are. Probably preseason number one and also the favorites to win the national championship. You look at both of these rosters. Texas does have home field advantage in this one, but two great quarterbacks, Carson Beck versus Quinn Ewers. We'll see who the better quarterback, in this game is. If both quarterbacks are healthy by this time. And these are two very talented rosters. The defensive advantage probably does go to Georgia, though. Kirby Smart does have a defensive background. And then for Texas, Steve Sarkisian does have an offensive background, so both coaches have different backgrounds in their systems and everything. But this is going to be a very good game. It could be a shootout here. I think both defenses probably will struggle a little bit. These are two great offensive teams, so I'm expecting probably a shootout in this one. That comes down to the fourth quarter. My gut feeling is probably telling me to go with Texas here, just because of the home field advantage. But I like Georgia's roster just a little bit more. I like their talent on their roster as well. I think Carson Beck is a little bit better than Quinn Ewers, even though Quinn Ewers does have more experience than Carson Beck does. But I think Carson Beck is going to make a big play here in the fourth quarter, and I think that's what gives Georgia the win. So I'm going to go with Georgia here to knock off Texas here in Austin, and that will give Texas their first loss of the season. Again, home field advantage does favor Texas here in this one, but again, like I said, I'm not really going with home field advantage in a lot of these predictions this year. So with that being said, I do like Georgia's talent just a little bit more. And again, I was very back and forth on this game. I'm going to go with Georgia here to knock off Texas and give them their first loss of the season, and that puts Texas's record at 6-1. Then they'll play Vanderbilt here after that on the road on October 26th. I think Texas gets an easy, bounce back win after that loss to Georgia. They take care of business and, probably win, pretty easily against Vanderbilt. I don't really know what to expect from Vanderbilt either, just like Mississippi State. Vanderbilt, obviously the worst team in the SEC, so I think Texas beats them. And then Texas gets another bye week here. Remember, all the teams in the Power Four get 2 bye weeks this season. And then coming out of the bye week, they'll play Florida here at home on November the 9th. Florida's a team that has a lot of question marks. They do have a very talented roster, but I don't think it's really going to be quite talented enough, to defeat this Texas team. Plus, this game is at home for Texas. And I think Texas does win pretty easily here. So I think Texas does beat Florida here, and that puts their record here at 8-1. And the next game is on the road here at Arkansas on November 16th. Remember 3 years ago when Texas went to Arkansas for a non-conference matchup? Arkansas absolutely blew out Texas, and that was Steve Sarkisian's first year here at Texas. But I don't think the same thing's going to happen like it did 3 years ago. It is on the road. Maybe it's close in the first half, but I think Texas does pull away here in the second half, and I think they do defeat Arkansas here. Not in a close game, like I mentioned. I think second half, I think Texas is going to pull away. I don't know how good Arkansas is especially going to be this year. So I think they get the win on the road at Arkansas, and then they improve to 9-1. And the next game, they'll play Kentucky here at home on November 23rd. Kentucky could be a sneaky, really good team in the SEC this year. They could be better offensively. Defensively, they also could be really good on that side of the football. But playing at home, I think Texas will win pretty easily here. Just like the Florida game, I think it's close in the first half. I think second half it will be a game where Texas will pull away. So I got Texas beating Kentucky here, and that puts their record at 10-1. And then the final game of the season is on the road here at Texas A&M. Of course, a rivalry is back here in the SEC this time instead of the Big 12. You look at both of these rosters. I mean, they're pretty talented. Texas A&M has a lot of production coming back. It is on the road and a very tough place to play at Kyle Field. But you look at this Texas team. I think they are just the more better roster here than Texas A&M. Plus, the Aggies do have a first-year head coach this year. Mike Elko now taking over down there and everything. So I think this Texas A&M team will be pretty good. It is going to be a back-and-forth game here in this rivalry. I think it will be probably a defensive battle, maybe a low-scoring type game. But I think Texas by the fourth quarter really, figures things out. It will be a close finish here in this one. But, for the first rivalry here in the SEC in this one, I think Texas does beat Texas A&M here on the road. So I think Texas beats Texas A&M here. Again, in a really close game. I think it really comes down to the fourth quarter. I do really trust Texas's talent a little bit more on the roster. So I got Texas. My official prediction for the Texas Longhorns for 2024 is 11-1. I could very well see this team possibly going 10-2, but if they beat Georgia, they could probably go 12-0. But what if they slip up against Texas A&M? That probably would put their record maybe at 10-2. But they also could lose to Oklahoma as well. That's another game you probably don't want to sleep on. And then maybe Michigan. I mean, they could probably finish 8-4, which I don't really expect them to do that. I think 11-1, maybe 12-0, or maybe 10-2 is probably the scenarios for the Texas Longhorns for 2024. So again, my official prediction here for Texas for 2024 is 11-1. Let me guys know what you think about this Texas team. What do you think their official record will be in 2024? Thanks for watching this video, and stay tuned here for more sports content videos on my Lucas Ross Sports channel.